Welcome to the Play to the Whistle podcast, episode 71. Approaching a century innings soon. Joined by the usual co-hosts, Kieran and Thea. How you doing?
Yeah, good man. What you saying?
Yeah, man. It's been a turbulent week, but yeah, we're here. Yeah, we're here. We're
Yeah,
here.
it's a turbulent week.
Yeah, bro. It's been turbulent, but yeah. Obviously, start off with the obviously the Man United Chelsea game, big game. Thea, what are your thoughts on the game?
I was going to ask you, but nah. Nah. My thoughts on the game. Obviously, before going into that game, I felt that we were obviously favourites to beat United. Especially when you hear of the obviously Maguire being suspended and then Pogba being out. Greenwood, I think, has had kind of, I don't think it's COVID or something. I think he was sort of coming back to sort of full fitness as well. So when you see those kind of players, I think I was talking about Fred and McTominay not actually starting as well before the game. So when you hear those kind of names not being mentioned, you kind of think, yeah, this is a game that we should be winning based off form as well. But in terms of the game itself, I thought we started really well. I thought we did what we needed to do. I thought we held a lot of the possession. I think for me, the only criticism of Chelsea, if I'm honest, was that we just didn't take our chances in the first half, and we had plenty of them. But it's one of those things. If you don't take those chances, there's always a likelihood that the other team are going to get a goal. They're going to get that one chance, and it could just be a silly mistake, which it was with Jorginho. Um, I think it was silly to leave Jorginho, the last player, back when you've got Sancho and Rashford, two nippy players, fast players, and it was just a lapse in concentration, or whether it was just a normal mistake that can be made by any player, by Jorginho. But yeah, and to be fair, it wasn't just that though. I think there was a lot. There was just obviously other things in terms of a bit of Mendy's distribution. I thought was a bit iffy. I think Fred had an opportunity at one point as well to make it. Yeah, he should have scored that. But in terms of Chelsea, I can't complain. I thought Chalobah was brilliant again. I thought going forward, the way he drives with the ball, I thought Ruben Loftus-Cheek had a very good game. I was I don't want to be critical of Ziyech because I think he's coming into a bit of form now. But I thought there's a couple of chances where he could have maybe either took the chance on a bit better. I think he skied one of them slightly over. Um, but all in all, I can't complain. Like I'm gutted obviously because it's 2 points dropped, and in those kind of games, especially when Liverpool and Man City both win as well, you want 3 points, but. It's one of those. The only other player that I got a shout out for Chelsea for me personally is Rudiger. Again, solid performance. Thiago Silva as well. Obviously rattling the crossbar, but yeah, United, for me personally, United came for the point. If I'm honest, I'll be real. I thought they came for a point. They defended. They wanted 1 point and go home with the point, and they got that. So they were lucky, obviously, with the goal. Like I said before, I personally wouldn't have left Jorginho as last man, but that's just one of those things. But you got to take it on the chin and move on. Big game against Watford coming up now, so it's just what it is. What was your thoughts, Jesse? You're on mute. You're on mute.
My bad, my bad. No, I thought they came for the win, but I thought it was more strategic. It felt more like a Jose Mourinho performance. How he goes away to try and get a win, it's not going to be nice. We was time wasting straight from the first minute. It was delaying all of our throws, slowing everything down. We was getting around the referee. We was like two banks of four basically defensively, facing the ball. Weren't really trying to press. Everyone was tucking in, and it just felt like we was waiting for a mistake. It felt like Jose was in charge, and it's pretty much the perfect game plan, nearly achieved if it wasn't for obviously the penalty. And then even Fred had the chance at the end of the game to win it. So from our point of view, I think Chelsea created chances. I don't think there's a lot of clear cut. Really good rattled the crossbar, but it's from outside the box. He weren't like well worked, and it's not like it was a well worked move. It ended up in the area, or we was under loads of pressure. There was crosses coming in, but I thought we managed most of it well, and the penalty was a penalty. Um, but nothing really Wan-Bissaka could do there. They were talking on the commentary as if it was senseless, as if like was brainless in what he did. He was just trying to clear the ball. Thiago Silva was extremely experienced in what he'd done. Got his body in front of the ball, made sure there was contact and went down. It's a penalty, so you can't really complain about that. But yeah, like we pounced a few times. We didn't press for the whole game. They picked and choose the right times to do that. And yeah, we had a chance at the end, but Fred obviously made the wrong decision. He was actually, I have to be honest, he was good today, apart from that. But yeah, I thought it was well executed, and it nearly was the perfect bank job.
But that's why I think you came for the point though, because I think in the way that you played the game, I think the only big chance that I think you remember having was the goal. I don't think you did anything apart from that goal. If I'm honest, I don't think there was any other real clear-cut chances. I think you just sat back, waited for that moment, and unfortunately for us, the Jorginho mistake was the big one, and then I think obviously Mendy with Fred. But apart from those two moments, I don't think you didn't really give us anything really to have to deal with or panic. Really, I thought defensively.
But I think that's the same for you guys though. I don't think you had a lot of the ball, but there was nothing clear-cut.
There was nothing clear-cut, but we definitely brought the game to United a bit more. I thought we definitely gave United a bit more to think about, especially defensively.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I don't think it was nothing devastating or nothing like we was under siege, but it wasn't like. Apart from the penalty, I didn't think he was going to score. That's
because we had Werner. If Werner wasn't. No, I don't mean that in a bad. No, I don't mean that in a bad way.
It's true.
I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean in terms of Werner isn't the sort of person that he needs 10 chances to score one, and that's his problem.
Yeah, I don't think he couldn't rob a bank if the safe was open, and that's what it looked like again today from him. But look, I think it's a good result for us, even though I think we could have won.
You think you could have won that game?
I disagree wholeheartedly.
You think you could have won that game?
We was winning the game, and I think had it not been for the penalty, I don't see you lot scoring.
No, I can't agree with that. I'm sorry.
Because but you could tell me which ones was clear cut, what chances were.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tell me.
Hudson-Odoi, firstly. First half.
Yeah, that's the first minute. But what apart from that, tell me which ones.
Yeah, Werner has a chance where he's I think the ball breaks to him. It's not a 1-on-1, but that should be on target.
The edge of the box one.
The edge of the box one. There was another one, Rudiger. I think he has one later on. Like United was terrible. They were okay. There was a load of mistakes. That goal was so fluky. It was like I was watching. You said Jose. I'm thinking Jose Allardyce because it was defensively it was solid. But there was no. Sometimes it was pressing. It was okay.
But what you seen from United, what was you expecting?
I'm just saying. As a game, a game of football between two teams, Man United were average. They were all right.
Yeah,
and Chelsea should have won that game. And
that's why I said it was a perfect bank. But that's why I said it's a perfect bank job. Nearly,
no, I think it was lucky personally. The goal was lucky.
I don't think if you walked away with the 3 points, I would have been pissed off because you didn't.
Yeah,
for me personally, you didn't deserve to win the game.
But you think the way that they defended was lucky?
Yeah. David De Gea even said himself, what is I can't remember the words he used, but he said he was fearful for his goal for the whole game.
He's always fearful.
But that's facts.
No, I have to agree, man. I have to agree with that. I think if you got the 3 points, I would have been pissed off because I don't think you should have walked away with 3 points after that. That
shouldn't even have been a point.
I think it's different. I think when we lost to City beat us 2-0, but City had like several chances clear cut on goal. It should have been 6-0. This game today, there was chances, but it wasn't like they were outside the box. They were from the edge of the area. There were loads of half chances. There was nothing like. How many saves did De Gea make? Like amazing saves, like quite bog standard saves.
I think, but that goes back to what Theo was saying.
Yeah, it's the fact
Chelsea
that
missed their chances, but there was chances. I'm not saying it was like a United Watford before. I'm just saying that goal was extremely lucky that United score. I know Fred has the chance of it later on. That if that falls to anyone with attacking ability other than Fred, maybe that's a chance. But Chelsea had loads of that could have easily been 2 or 3-0. Like
I don't know about easily, but fair enough.
I don't know. I'm just saying, like Chelsea, they scored a pen. I know it's all relative to whatever happens in the game, but yeah, Hudson-Odoi should score. Rudiger's hit the post. Werner should score. I think Lukaku's just sort of missed one with one of the crosses that's gone in. There were quite a few chances that Chelsea could have at least had 2 in that game. Should have been 3, really, for me. So I'm just saying, I agree with it was a penalty. I can see that there was a plan to frustrate Chelsea, and you do that. And the reason for that, Chelsea are the champions of Europe and the top of the Prem.
Yeah.
So I understand the game plan, but United didn't play well. Chelsea just missed a lot of chances, and the goal that United scored was very fortunate.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Fair enough. No, but if you understand the game plan, so didn't they execute it then?
Yeah, but I think you said that United deserved to get 3 points, though.
No, I didn't say deserved. I said they could have won the game.
They could have won
it. Won the game, but it's still kind of saying that you should have got 3 points out of the game.
No, I just said they could have won the game because they went ahead. And
I know what you mean.
It was only the penalty that they scored. It's not like Chelsea didn't score from open play. It was set piece.
No, I get it's not like I know. Like, remember there was the years ago. There was the United Arsenal game at Emirates where Arsenal had about 1 million chances, like 1 million one-on-ones with De Gea in like the first half, and that's a game.
Exactly.
So it wasn't
that's
like
not
that.
Like today, was it? Exactly.
Yeah,
that's
but what I'm saying was there was still plenty of mistakes. Like there was a plan, but there were a lot of mistakes made by Wan-Bissaka. First 30 minutes, Lindelof got targeted so many times. I was thinking, are they running bants? If they put someone to just press on Lindelof, he was dreadful. Like, do you know what I mean? So,
but he's been, but that's what I mean, though. Like, I think that's why I think Carrick done a good job today because he understands how shit we are. Let's be honest, yeah. So he set up the team to get a result and sneak a win, and I think he done that. So I don't see nothing from our point of view. Yeah, we're shit. Lindelof was poor. The same. There's a couple of mistakes, but from compared to some of the other games, the Watford ones, the City, Liverpool games, it's a lot better than those.
I don't think Ole would lose that game, though. To be fair, either.
He would have lost. He wouldn't have picked that team.
Yeah, but he hasn't lost against Chelsea anyway. I don't think.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have picked that team.
Well, what I'm saying, I think what I'm saying is it's not. I'm not criticizing like Carrick's pick or whatever. I think Chelsea could have done better. I think the team that they picked out was more than capable. There's a couple of injuries that they're dealing with, but yeah, that could have. For me, on another day, that could have easily been 2 or 3-0. I think it's just missed chances.
But I think it's a bit similar to the Burnley game, though. Like, I think it's a pattern, though. It's becoming.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I don't know if you agree, Theo, but I feel like it's still like last season where you're creating loads of chances just like last season, but there's nothing like clear cut. And when they are clear cut, they're not being put away. I know Lukaku's just come back from injury.
I think it's different this season, though, because I think. Sorry to cut you, but I think. We're scoring goals from all different parts of the pitch. It's not just we're not relying on just a Lukaku or a Werner. Like Reece James is the top again, so it's telling you that like we're getting goals from other areas of the pitch. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I mean. So it's not like we're just relying on like last season we didn't have Lukaku, so we were relying on Mason Mount, Jorginho, other players in the team to get the goals. And I think this is the same season as well. To be fair, Lukaku needed that rest. He's been playing football back to back for how many months now. He needed that rest anyway. So yeah, I think that doesn't worry me. The fact that obviously we're not scoring goals from like the attacking positions in the game, but yeah, I just think if we had, I mean, when Mason Mount comes on, Pulisic comes on, to me, it's a totally different game. I think United were very good. Come out the second half, maybe the first 15 minutes. I'll give United that because I think you played really well then. I don't know what was said at half time, but something obviously worked for a bit. Yeah. But even after that, then I still thought we should have been, we should be scoring some of these chances. We should be making this game a bit more for us. And we just didn't do that. We just didn't do it. And like I said, when Mason Mount comes on, Pulisic comes on, for me personally, it changed the game for Chelsea as well. I'm not saying that we should have gone on to win or nothing like that, but it definitely just gave United something else to think about, in my opinion.
Yeah. I was worried when Mason Mount came on, definitely. But yeah, I don't know, man. Obviously, we've played everyone at the top, and we've been battered by Chelsea. No, not Chelsea. We've been battered by Liverpool and City, and I don't know. I just watched that Watford, but I watched that game and just I don't know. I thought it just felt a bit like. I just felt we weren't going to lose. Just like once the game like was in play, there was a lot of the ball. Reece James had a lot. There was a lot of playing wide areas, but nothing penetrative, and nothing really like Ruben Loftus-Cheek done well, and so did Jorginho. But even sometimes the ball was moving a bit slow. They weren't progressing it quick enough. They weren't like.
But you know, if everyone's sitting behind the ball, then you have to build that play up a bit more slower than.
Yeah, but we done that to City, and City tore us apart. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, I just looked at that game today and felt, it's a bit not toothless, but
it was a bit blunt up front.
Yeah, not just up front, but I weren't worried. I didn't think they were going to lose.
No.
You wasn't worried before the game?
No. I was worried before the game. Once I saw the starting lineup, and then during the game, I didn't think we were going to lose that.
That's fair, and obviously they didn't. So,
I just want to know, because obviously I wasn't on last week's episode, but I want to know what your thoughts are. Obviously, Oli being sacked. I know you might have talked about it already. Carrick coming in, new gaffer on the way. What's your thoughts? Have we spoke about that on here? I don't.
No, not
about Redknapp coming in.
We didn't even really do it on the last episode. Too tough. Obviously he had to go. He should have went like from the Liverpool game, but I think the two games that Carrick has had, he's done all right, man. Like, I think he's done well. Obviously, you can see that the plan was obviously not really. Even in the Villarreal game, it was a bit similar to today. Didn't really press until the team passes over the halfway line. There was no trying. There's no attempt of a high press or any of that rubbish, because these guys are not ready for that yet. It weren't coached. You have to coach a press. You can't just run around. You look like headless chickens. You know what I mean? It's a plan. There's a process to it. And obviously, Oli wasn't coaching that, so they just went back to basics. Got everyone behind the ball, picked and choose their moments, and it was the same in the Villarreal game. Just picked them off at the right time, scored the goals, and then it was just like pretty much like today. But I think he picked the right teams for both games as well. So he's done his thing. He's done all right in the two games he's had.
I don't think he should be there myself, but it's a story for another day.
No, Scholes was talking about that during the Villarreal game, but it's one of them. He shouldn't, but then if you're in his shoes, it's like, are you ever going to get an opportunity to like be the guy, even if it's for two games? It's bolstering. It's bolstering for your CV, isn't it? Like, even if it was just two games. So I can understand from Carrick's point of view why he's done it, but Rangnick coming in. I was saying on another podcast, I think I don't mind the interim thing. I'd rather just get the manager now. I don't see the point of another interim. If they was in talks to get Poch, they could have got him. Like, if they really push for it. But that's United are always tentative when it comes to this stuff. They don't really actually go for the jugular when they want a manager, and that's why we ended up with Oli in the first place. But I would have just got Poch and just got it done. So, but look, Rangnick's obviously experienced coach. He knows what he's doing. He's got a style of play, and I think it's good for interim.
What's your thoughts, Kieran? You agree on that? You think he's good for the interim?
I think football fans are too spoiled and need to relax and know where they are, because he's a very good coach. He knows the game very well. This whole thing of he's not managed at a big club and this, that, and the other,
it's rubbish.
It's kind and with no disrespect, saying things like, "Oh, if there's a manager, you won't go out and get him." Really? Because I'm looking at the situation with United now, and I'm thinking a lot of managers must be looking at that thinking, I don't really want to touch that right now because it's a mess. The plan that they
that's the point I was making.
Yeah.
He's literally begging for the job. Not just like, I'm not saying it about any manager.
We can only go by rumors that we hear, but we don't.
No, if those rumors come out, it's coming from him. It's coming from his camp. I'm not talking about loads of other managers. I'm only talking about him. I said what I said.
Don't listen. The only person I know that truly wants that job is Steve Bruce, because his agent came out and said it. Yeah. So with the thing with Poch, yeah, he probably does want it, but it's like it doesn't really work like that. Do you know what I mean? And I think with this plan they've got, if they follow it through, and I would say what they need to do is just have him interim, and then I think he was going into this consultant role. Just stick with that plan. Don't change it up, because if they change it up again, it tells me that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I said that on another. Yeah, I said exactly that on another podcast. Like that, they need to actually just see it through now. Like if they've gone with interim and they want to get someone in the summer, they just need to do that
and build the squad around that plan and do that. Because he'll come in, he'll do. I mean, I have no idea how he'll do. To be honest, it'll be better than what we saw under Oli. But we're talking about implementing a completely different style of football.
What is his style? What is his style?
He's the man that the gegenpress is his thing.
Yeah,
that's his style of play.
So it's the high press. Was it higher turnovers? Win the ball like high up the pitch.
With that United squad that's there now.
And that's my point. But if you're gonna go down that route, then stick and he's the consultant that you stick with for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years, rather than you keep changing. Because that's the issue. It went from Van Gaal, the sort of slow, passing, control the ball, then to Jose, wait for the opposition to make a mistake. Then Oli, let's play with a smile on our face. It's not gonna work if you keep changing. So listen, it's a rumor, but I've heard things about people going into the changing room after the game and seeing what's on the tactics boards and the 4 little messages about how to play the game, give it your all and all of that. So, but anyway, we talk about it all the time, but that's the thing. I think if that's the route they're going to go down, it's not for me to say if it's the right one, but just make a plan and stick with it and get Woodward the hell out of that club, because he's running that club into the ground.
Isn't he one of the reasons why he's coming?
He says that, and he's obviously got someone in the media, isn't it, doing the release nice positive stories about pretend people trying to rob his house and all of that stuff. So I don't believe a word of anything that comes out about him. I think he just sticks his name on stuff. No, honestly, yeah, he's a liar, and he doesn't even like football. You can quote me for that as well, but I think get him out of the club and just get someone else dealing with it. I think the new guy Arnold has turned around his replacement and has said, I don't know much about what's going on. Get someone else in who's a specialist around that. I know you're kind of laughing, but it's just facts, innit? But I don't know much about this side of football, that side of football. So I'll manage this. I'm going to bring someone in who can do that job. And that's what it is. And we talked about this. That's just how any business works if you want to be successful. Bring in specialists that can do that job. So I think just stick with it. And if you want to go get Poch, whoever, then go get them.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing now, is that they just need to stick to a plan, man. Like if he's going to be interim and it's sort of summer and they've got a guy that they want, I don't know if it's Poch. I don't know what their thinking is, but whoever it is, just go and get him and stick to the plan, man. Because every time you don't stick to the plan, you're just wasting another year, another season goes down the drain. You fall further and further behind, and they're just wasting time with this kind of with the manner that they've been acting in. And the other thing I'd say, to add to what Kieran said, is they just need to listen as well. That's the other thing. Like whatever
do you think that's going to happen though, in terms of the structure that's in place now, regardless of who is underneath that structure? Do you think there's going to be any sort of...
No, because we've not seen it. They've not listened to no manager, bro. If I'm being honest, no. But then I'm hoping, innit? I'm hoping, bro. I've got my fingers crossed, because I'm tired. I was tired now. It's been what? When did Van Gaal came in 2014? It's 7 years of rubbish, basically.
This is what this feels like to me, though. This feels like the whole Van Gaal thing again. But not everyone, but a lot of the majority. Because don't forget, a lot of the fans last week were talking about Poch. They were talking about Rog. Half of them don't even know about this guy. They don't. No, it's only a couple of people like yourself and Kieran and people who actually follow football properly. But a lot of them were talking about Poch and Rodgers, and that's the only 2 names that were mentioned. Now everyone's like, "Oh, he's done this for Klopp, Tuchel." People don't know about him that much.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. 100% I agree with you. I think he's definitely someone that will come in and improve United. 100%. Because when you look at what's there now, anything is better than what's already in place. If that makes sense. So I think he'll do well. He's just got to be listened to. He's got to be given the right tools to do the job. That's it.
That's the key. That's the key, man. They have to listen to him, especially if he's actually going to be there till the end of the season, then go upstairs. So whatever he says about the squad, they actually have to, like, look, Jose wanted to get rid of Pogba, yeah? And he wanted to get rid of Martial, and he wanted Perisic, and he wanted, I can't remember the centre mid that he wanted. But they've got to do these, they've got to listen to this guy now. There's no point bringing him in, especially to be interim, then consultancy, and then not listen to what he's saying. So if he says, I don't want to name a specific player, but if he says, yeah, they're not good enough, they need to be moved on, and the club disagrees, they just need to move them on if they want to actually progress and move forward. But
for me, that goes back to the structure, though, because you think about when I talk about the structure, I'm talking about even like Alex Ferguson. He still gets involved in certain things. He's got to move away from the club now.
Yeah, he's got to fuck off. Not fuck off, but he's got
to go. 100%, he's got to go, because people like him are the reason why there's so many things going on. Not just him, and I'm not just singling him out, but they're the reasons. Do you know what I mean?
I think personally, he was part of the reason why Ollie's lasted as long as he has. That's just my opinion. I think
100%.
other United fans might not agree with that, but I think he's too close to the club. And if he was just on the board as a, like, you know, every club has board members that are not involved. Yeah, they're just on the board. Maybe when it comes to a different decision regarding the club or the stadium or something about the youth, and you know, there's a vote and things like that. That's fair enough. But he's actually like
around the table.
Like he's heavily involved in stuff still, and that doesn't really sit well with me. Like that story that came out a few weeks ago after the Liverpool game where he went Carrington. Why are you going Carrington, big man? What are you going there for? You're not manager. You don't need to be there. And things like that, you're just undermining the manager that's in charge now. And it's like when it's like a family business, and the dad hands it over to the son. Son's messing up a bit. Certain man ain't listening to the son at work. So dad comes back and he's talking to the workers and that he hired. You can't do that. It's not going to work. So I think he does need to take a step back from the club as well.
It's true, man.
But to answer your original question, none of us knows if this is going to actually change, or if Woodward's ego is going to actually let him move aside and let football people make footballing decisions. So fingers crossed. I'm just saying, I'm hoping in it. Fingers crossed that they actually listen to this guy, and then the next manager that comes in after, there's actually, because that's the only way we're going to move forward.
It's true, man. That's what I was saying about the whole structure. I think once that starts being changed and restructured, I think only then will you see the club move forward. I can't see it myself until then, but I might be wrong. I might be wrong completely, but we'll have to see, man.
I want to be wrong, because I'm kind of agreeing with you, but I just want change now, man. Like, I think all United fans just want this kind of rubbish to be over now. And that's what Kieran said is the truth. It's like we've changed from so many different managers, personalities, and styles of play. They've all brought their own players in. So the squad is a mismatch of players anyway. That's another issue. But yeah, look, hopefully they listen to him and there's some sort of change, man.
I'd have to agree, man.
But he's a very, very good coach. So he should be able to implement his style of play. It's not going to, some weeks, I think it's going to be a car crash, but I definitely think he can implement his style of play.
Should we move on to another manager?
Yeah.
He was perplexed at the weekend. He's got all right style of play. It's all right. But what was your thoughts, Kieran, on the game?
Yeah,
we're talking about Brighton Leeds, by the way, if anyone's not watching.
No, I'm gonna try and run with it, but if my internet drops, take over from me. But listen, I told you, man, about Brighton. I think where they are, where they 8th. I need to double check, but I think they're sort of 8th.
I told you, man, about Brighton.
But I talk about them. I talk about every week. They're doing well. Not that you man didn't know, but I told you that they're a good team. I think I know a few people that following the game were saying about their lack of a finisher will come to hurt them, and I think that's where they're going to get themselves in trouble. When that came up in the game yesterday, they had a low chances. I know Leeds got in the game. They're ninth actually, same on points with United. So but they did well. They had a lot of chances. Leeds ain't a shit team either. I know they're not in the best of form at the moment, and they're missing a few players. But it's Brighton. Like they're not, like they're not even on the same stature as like Spurs or Arsenal. Like they're doing well. So I agree with what he said with the fans. Like I just think some fans are spoiled. They're getting good football. He's bought some good players. He's had to prove himself. Because a lot of people, including most of us on this episode, were quite pissed that Chris Hughton got booted out after keeping him up. But he's done well. He's proved everyone wrong. So to be turned around and booed at home, what do you want? And it wasn't even a bad performance. It wasn't like where we're seeing certain teams get slapped up, and lots of teams. Wasn't a 9. Wasn't anything like that. So I'm perplexed by why they were booed. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. What about you, Jesse? Do you think the fans are right to voice their opinions? Do you think Potter's right to criticize them back or make the comments that he's made?
I'm perplexed as well. I'll be honest. Look, I had them going down in it, as I said on the last episode, and he's playing very good football like he was last season with them. And I did say, that they're the ones that are lacking a finisher. And we're seeing that. We're still seeing that now. But I don't know what these fans are like. They're actually in the stadium as well. That's the worst thing. So you're seeing the ball that they're playing. Yeah, they're playing very good football for what they've got. Yeah, for where they are coming from, and in a short space of time as well. I don't know what they want really. Leeds ain't a bad team. I know they're in a bad bit of form, but they're not playing like Aldershot. They're not playing Accrington. Like it's not a League Cup game, or like it's a Premier League game against another Premier League side that they drew 0-0. By the way, they didn't lose 5-0. What is there to boo? I think they had 20 chances in the game. What are you doing? You just didn't put the ball in the net, but they played well. So, I personally, I don't really get it, and I think he's fair. I think he's fair to defend himself. He's probably thinking in his head, "You're lucky I'm here." By the way, like, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on it, man. I think you should be careful. If they're booing him, they should be careful what they're wishing for.
I got a different sort of take on it. I personally don't think they were booing him as such. I don't think they were booing the manager at all. I think he was right in what he said because he's talking from a club, so he's representing the club. So I get why he's saying what he's saying, but I don't think they were necessarily booing Graham Potter. I think what they were pissed off about, and I would be, if I travelled to the game, saw my team get 20 shots, and they didn't take one of those and put them in the back of the net, I'd be booing as well. And it was freezing yesterday as well. So I'll be booing for that reason as well. Because they know they've got a good manager. They're not stupid Brighton fans. Like, they know they're punching above their weight. They know that they're 9th. They should be potentially... They haven't won a game, I think, since September. So they should be a lot lower down the table, in my opinion. But I don't think they were booing him. And I think, obviously, he was probably more frustrated that he's had to sit there, watch his team. I think he said 20 shots. I think 6, was on target. I can't remember. Not one of them. I mean, Mopé yesterday, they may as well have not played with him. They may as well just played 10 men and left him on the bench because he was, I don't know what he needed to score. Him and Aubameyang this weekend. We're not talking about Arsenal this weekend, but boy, those are the kind of people that should be scoring goals for me. And it's those kind of things that makes me wonder, are they going to be okay this season still? Because I've said it before. I said it before. I think it was on here. I said it too. I said it on here, and I remember being on the episode and people said, no, they'll be all right. They're 5th or 4th. They're flying. But they haven't won since September. They're still in trouble. They're still in a lot of trouble. They've got some big games. I think they've got Tottenham, Wolves. I think we've got to play them, Chelsea. They've got some big games coming up over Christmas. I think their next relatively easy game is Everton. I think in January, 20th or 22nd of January or something like that. That's a long time to go without a win. So I don't think they were booing him. I think they were booing the performances that they've probably come to see. A lot of draws, a lot of losses where they could have potentially won. Leeds are Leeds are what, 17th, 16th or something like that. So that's a team that they potentially probably came to the game and thought we should be beating Leeds based off current form, and they didn't do that. So for me, I look at it from that perspective. Obviously, they know how well Graham Potter's doing. They don't need to be told that twice to Brighton fans. But I think they were annoyed at the actual result. Traveling to the game, seeing all them chances created or those shots that were not on target or on target and not converted into a goal, and then to walk away with a draw against Leeds, who are really out of form. Rafinha's coming back. Bamford was coming back. Bamford's out. So I kind of see their point. I see why I would boo as well. I would boo. If I was a Brighton fan, obviously, I'd boo.
I don't know, man. But I hear what you're saying, and maybe they wasn't directly booing the manager, but I don't know. You know what? I've never been in a stadium actually booed in it, so I don't know. But I think
keyword was if I was a Brighton fan, because I've never booed.
No, I know. I know.
I
just thinking like I agree with what you're saying. I still think they're going to be in trouble at some point this season, but I just look at it and think like, bro, like, it's a bit mad. And if they were playing Norwich, I could understand it a bit more. But Leeds are still a good team. I know they're in a bad form at the moment, but it wasn't a shit team that they were playing. That's the point I'm trying to make. If this was a cup game and they lost to Crawley Town, or like, no disrespect to Crawley Town, yeah, but if they lost to a team at that standard, then I could understand it. But it's just a 0-0 draw. They didn't even get smashed or anything.
But it's another 0-0, not another 0-0, but it's another draw.
Another draw.
And I think it's another draw. Like I said, they haven't won since the back end of September. We're in December. So when you start the season so high, I'm not saying that they should be there. I'm not saying that they should be competing for Europa or nothing like that. But when you start the season that high, you kind of expect to see a Leeds team that's a bit weaker than usual. You expect to see a bit more from Brighton, and they did do well. They done very well. They done everything right, but just didn't score a goal. And I think when you're sat in the cold, freezing 90 minutes plus, you're at the stadium, you're seeing all these chances created, or you're seeing Mope sky it into the Rosed, it would piss me off a little bit, if I'm honest. And you do probably, if you're watching that week in, week out, every week you're going to Brighton Stadium at Amex, whatever it's called, and you're seeing that, it would probably piss me off a little bit after 2 months of it. So I get the booing. I just don't think it was, personally, I don't think it was directed to Potter. I think it was more the players and the football that the players were playing rather than Potter itself. But I might be wrong. I wasn't there, so I don't know.
But I think it's still going to come back to haunt them, though, in terms of what you just said about Maupay. I still think they're lacking not a centre forward, but they're lacking someone that's going to score goals for them. And I still think that's going to be the problem, because they had a good start to the season, unexpected, I'm going to say,
100%.
But it's going to catch up with you now, and I think it is starting to catch up with them, and I think they need to. They're going to have to address that in January, because look, they're 9th now, but 9th can turn into 18th real quick.
Listen,
anywhere from mid-table downwards, you can go down.
You got Leicester. Leicester's on the same points. Crystal Palace on 16 points. Brentford 16. Villa 16. I'll leave out Everton because we're going to talk about them in a minute, but they're on 15 points. Southampton on 14 points. Watford on 13 points. So there's not like a massive gap between all of them teams, and them teams will pick up points over the next 4, 5, 6 games over that Christmas period. Leicester and the likes of Palace, Brentford potentially, maybe even Villa, now that Gerrard's there, they're going to pick up points. And like you just said, the moment they start doing that and they start creeping into that sort of hovering above the relegation zone, that's it then. That's it. You get drawn into it. So
yeah, you do.
It's gonna be tricky, man. I agree with you. I think they need someone who can score. Not saying they need like a prolific goal scorer that's gonna bag 20 or something. They just need someone. I always said someone like Olivier Giroud, someone like that who, kind of, whether he fits that system, I don't know. But in terms of he scores goals when he needs to score goals, he's in the right positions. He knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. Like, he scores from all different types of goals as well. Headers, you know what I mean? Left foot, right foot, tucks in, comes in outside the box. He does it all.
Especially, and Giroud suits the way they play. But and then it's like Newcastle have got Callum Wilson, like Villa have got Watkins and Danny Ings. Like all the teams kind of down there have got guys that will score goals that matter. And I think that's still where they're gonna come into problems eventually. But they're fans. If they were doing what you said, fair enough. But like it's what Kieran said. I think, man. Like some fans are spoiled, and you can show your frustration, but be careful. That's all I'll say.
Be careful what you wish for, 100%. Because you might find yourself in League One in a couple of years if you ain't careful.
Yeah, but they've been there, man. They're used to it. Then they go down to.
But that's what I mean. Like, why? Obviously, I've internet issues, so I've missed a big chunk of what you're talking about. But I don't understand why you'd pay money to go and boo your team. I don't like, especially if they're getting hammered 5-0 every week, and there's issues with the owners and all that stuff. Then that's
try going to Brighton every week. You haven't seen your team win a game since September. It's freezing cold. You've come out your house freezing cold to watch something that you just probably thought, why have I bothered to come out?
Then don't go.
Do you know what I do though? I think Kieran's been there. Like when United have played shit, I've just left. I've just left because I don't want. I'm so angry. I can't stay there, innit? But I'm not gonna boo. I just don't know.
It's just a preference, and some people don't. Some people do.
Maybe people might like criticize me for leaving, but
that's what I mean. It's just what you feel to do. Some people want to boo. Some people want to leave the ground. It's not a right or wrong. I think at the end of the day, if they want to boo, let them boo. That might help the players next week. I don't know, but in terms of what a lot of the sort of aftermath of it was around Graham Potter, I personally don't think it was to him. I think it was to the performance of the players rather than to the manager, because the manager's done all right with them, to be fair. But like I keep saying, they haven't won since September. We're now in December. They're going to get drawn into that relegation zone. A couple man laughed at me on this podcast a few months ago when I said that, but
one man.
No. But the thing is, because I know I missed it, and just my final thoughts on it. I agree. Like anyone can get sucked down. I think that they would do all right. Personally, but you go on a run of defeats, anything can happen. So I'm not saying that they're untouchable or whatever, but I still think they're doing okay. And if you're a supporter of your club, you're supposed to support the club, no? that's my only point. Like, I don't know many other sports where your team loses and you boo the team off. Like you cheer them off. You try and support them. You're there. Your job is there to create an advantage and to try and make sure that things go okay. Before we got younger T-Dot on to give his thoughts, but you're there to try and give them that extra energy boost to rally them up, and then they come and play for you the following week. You know what I mean? So I don't get all that booing. So I would never boo a team that I support personally.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't do that either. And for me, I just don't think it's not my thing, innit? I wouldn't do it. I don't think it's acceptable. But
I hear that.
But no, I do think I like the left back. That's the other thing I was going to say. Away from like talking about that subject, I can't say Cucurella. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. But again, he reminds me of a Lamptey kind of situation where I don't see them keeping him for that long.
Yeah.
Looks very good, very comfortable on the ball, very good going forward. He will end up in the top 6 or back at one of the big clubs in Spain.
Yeah, and I think that's fair, and I think that's credit to the scouting team at Brighton as well. I hope that they stay up for a bit, but I agree with you, man, in that. And I'm not Mufe's biggest fan, but he still gets numbers every season, and he can't be shit to do. I think the last two, I think I said this before, the last couple of seasons he scored double figures. You can't be a shit player and do that. And I think similar to Bamford, he just brings different stuff to the table. Do you know what I mean? Like you need to score.
No, he does get double figures. It's good, but I feel like they usually play 4-4-2 most of the time, don't they? Not all the time, but they do sometimes. And I think they just need someone supplementing them goals, or someone that's going to bring in. So if he's getting 10, 11, they need someone else to get 10 or 11. Not even, like as me and Theo just said, not necessarily another striker.
Yeah.
Maybe another winger, goals from midfield, but they need more goals.
Oh yeah, without doubt. Without doubt. But we'll come back to them anyway. I think defensively they're quite good, but I think probably we should dedicate some time to Everton, because this is another situation that I don't understand. See, I feel like as soon as a team goes out of form, it's trendy to say, "Oh, the manager's under threat and let's sack him." Like, you can't have a bad patch of form anymore. Not a like a Solskjaer bad patch of form, because that was, or like where you're like like Sheffield United last season when you ain't won before Christmas. Like, yeah, okay, that's a bit different, but I feel like you can't come into a new job and just have a bad run at this time when a lot of teams have a bad run, and then just be given the benefit of the doubt to say, okay, let's see what happens. But what's your thoughts on the situation at Everton? So I don't know if we'll agree or disagree on this one, but what's your thoughts on? So obviously they lost to Brentford this weekend.
Yeah, they've lost quite a few games now. But no, I look, it don't look good. That's the truth. They're on 15 points and they're deep down the table at the moment. But it's one of them. You kind of got to give benefit of the doubt sometimes, and I think with their transfer window, like, they didn't write the season off, but they didn't really.
They didn't help him, did they?
Yeah. They didn't give the gaffer the best opportunity to get this team into Europe, for example, which is kind of, if you're Everton, that's your aim, really. Like, your aim isn't a top half finish. They do that every season anyway. Your aim at Everton is to get into Europe, or try to get into Europe. And I don't think they gave him the best platform to do that. Obviously, I think with the players that he signed, Townsend started well, Demarai Gray started well. Doucouré, obviously he didn't sign Doucouré, but Doucouré started season well as well. But then he got injured and then coincided with a little dip in form, and Calvert-Lewin's obviously out as well. But Demarai Gray, Townsend is your only signings. It's not enough.
You're not gonna break into the top 6 or top 4, are you? With that,
no,
with those,
and it was always going to catch up with them, especially if he got injured. And Rondon, but again, another signing that's not really that shows ambition for the club, and they've just got to be patient now. I think, yes, it's definitely a bad run of form, and they don't want to be where they are in the table, but they might have to dip in the pocket and spend in January as well. Bring some new blood in.
But don't you think? Can I ask, right? Is it not okay if you're bringing in, and maybe because Rafa's he's not a long-term solution, but can you not just give him a season to implement his structure, his tactics, his way of playing? Like you said, you ain't giving him the best place to do so. So can't man just have? They're not going to get relegated. So can't he just have, like, a season, build it, just see what it looks like, and then give him players, and then judge him from his second season? I don't understand. I can't understand the disgruntlement.
Yeah, I would give him the rest of the season, to be honest with you, because I feel like they had one of them windows where you've written the season off, and if you have a window like that and it doesn't really go to look. If it becomes a disaster and they end up in the bottom 3 and there's not a lot of games left and there's not a lot of time to turn around, then questions will be asked. But I feel as though they're not at sea yet. There's still time, but it's some questionable performances, and I feel like without Calvert-Lewin, the goals have kind of dried up, and it's not even just the goals, because he's a focal point that gets them up the pitch as well. Like, you play into him, or you can play into him, and he offers a lot, and you can play in spaces, and he's someone that chases everything. So if you play it in the channels, for example, he'll make channel runs. If he's making channel runs, it's getting you higher up the pitch so the team can play them. And so without him, that's not happening as much. So they're having to defend more now. They're conceding more chances because of it. Like, they're having to do more work because they don't have the outlet anymore. And I think that's what I mean. They might have to dip in the market and try and get someone in that's going to do that. Because I know he likes Rondon. He had him at Newcastle. He took him China, but he don't look like he's doing the same type of job for me. And then I think the other thing quickly before you can continue. I think the wingers are just kind of gone out of form now as well, and that's obviously coincided with the injury, and it's not helped them either. I don't know what you think, but he's played Townsend in the 10 sometimes. And I think he likes to play with a number 10, doesn't he? He's done that everywhere. He's played pretty much. And I don't know if they need to go and dip in the market and get one of those now as well. Because if they don't have Rodriguez anymore. Obviously, he threw his toys out the prime and went. Did he go Saudi Arabia or did he go Qatar?
He's just pissed off wherever he's gone. But
yeah, he's gone. But they need that as well.
I fully agree with what you're saying, and I think what you're pointing to is they lack squad depth. And I think T-Dot obviously touched on that, but yeah, that's it. They lack squad depth. They've had a couple of injuries, and it's turned. But I think also as well, like you said, if you're not going to give man the players to do that, then would you expect? I can see why he plays Townsend in that 10, but you know how I feel about playing too many players out of position for too long. Like you get caught out eventually, and I feel like you said, it's upset the side. There's some defenders that are out of form as well, which doesn't help. You know, I haven't really ever been a fan of Pickford, so there's lots of issues around it. But again, the reason why I think they're 14th now. The reason why they're there is they're not the 14th best team. It's a tight league. Like it's like if for example they would have won today, I'm just looking at how many points they got. They would have been again level of points with United and Brighton in joint 8th.
Still early days.
Yeah,
early days.
You know,
I think once you get through like December and you get to January, there's a lot of games in December, and I think we'll have a more clear idea of what the table will look like.
Yeah.
But I think defensively they could still do a bit of work. I think actually you said Pickford though. I think Pickford's had a good season. I don't think
he's not been bad. He's been better. Yeah, I give him that.
And I know. Yeah. I think he's been linked with Spurs as well, so I don't know if he's even going to be on the move soon. But
I don't know how many Spurs fans will be happy at that. But yeah.
But I think I think I don't rate Michael Keane, if I'm being honest with you. I don't rate their centre back options. I think they need centre backs as well as the other positions that I spoke about. I think that's pretty much like when you look at who they've got there. That's just my opinion. I think they could do better than what they've got. But Rafa's a quality manager. He'll sort that out over time. But we know what Rafa's like. Rafa, especially, he wouldn't have been happy with that transfer window. And you know, Rafa's like a joke. He's like a Jose or a Conte. Like he's going to speak his mind. He's a confident person. He's not. He's
too
confident
old for
man.
that shit now, man.
Yeah, he's confident. He's too experienced. He's not just going to sit there and just work with what he's got. He's going to say, "Look, I need whatever he thinks he needs." He's going to say it to the board.
Yeah.
And they probably had arguments already. They probably clashed already on loads of things. And
I think that's what the issue is. I think that's
boards are businessmen, aren't they? Like they're businessmen. They don't want to spend money. They think this is good enough because this is where they finished last year. They're always thinking in the past, whereas managers are always thinking in the present, and that's where there's always a breakdown. Like with Levy and some of his managers and Woodward and at United, that's where there's always a breakdown. So again, same as what I said about United. If they listen to Rafa, they'll be fine.
And you know what highlights that perfectly? The situation at West Ham now, because their board and their signings were a mess for years, and I don't know the setup that they've got because I haven't watched it too closely, but you can tell, and I know listening to you talk about them and Moyes in particular, I know this is a Moyes thing. They bring in players that he wants that fit a system, and maybe they're not his number one targets, but they're people that he's identified that he can develop and build on. And if Everton can just, especially the board, just swallow their ego, because I know their owner's just a bit. So if they can just get on with it and listen to Rafa and give him what he's after. And Rafa's not really like a Jose who wants to go out and sign like a 29-year-old Perisic and all these men that will be good for the moment, but dead, later. Like he will sign players that will be good for the future. If they do that, they'll be on par with your Leicesters, with your West Hams, with you probably there with your Tottenhams as well. They've got the history there. You have to throw Arsenal in there at the moment because of they've been very up and down the last like sort of decade. So if they do that, and that's why I say this dip in form, just see it for what it is. It's a dip in form. Like everyone has it. You know, Chelsea will go through it. Liverpool, you know, at times have been a bit shaky at certain points of the season. So yeah, I think. I mean, we were talking about Brendan Rodgers. Obviously, the other day, Leicester have obviously held a few L's, but yeah, where are they now? They're 10th, and if they win their next game, they could go be up to 6th. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree, and I just feel like they need to trust him, and it goes for a lot of clubs, especially if you hire someone like him. He's not coming in mid-season as an interim just to the end of the season. You got to take on what he wants and what he's trying to do, because you got to listen to him for the club to be successful. If he's going to be successful as a manager, you got to listen to him and get the things he wants. And like West Ham's a good example of that. That West Ham team looks like his Everton team. You know, they've got workman-like players. They've got players that can play. They've got players that can counter-attack. They can hold the ball. They can play in different. They're suited to play in different styles depending on who they're playing against. And look, we know Rafa likes to play direct, and he likes to attack quickly. There's no build-up. He wants to go back to front or into spaces. They got to get players that do that. And I don't know, I'm not going to name he might want to get rid of Iwobi, or he might want to get rid of some of the other players there.
Yeah, there's a couple of men in there. Yeah,
he's got to just listen to him and move them on and bring in what he wants, because look, Rafa's a serious guy, isn't it? He's a serious manager. You know, he's won the trophies that the competitions that they're trying to get into.
All of them.
Yeah, he's won the Europa League with 2 different clubs. He's won the Champions League. He's won trophies. So
he's won a league. Yeah, he's won all of them.
Just listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Listen to him, and then it'll be fine.
I tell you what, yeah, for free, he wouldn't spend 80 million on Richarlison and Iwobi. I tell you that much. You give him 80 million, not in a bad way. Richarlison's not a bad player, but he's not a 15 million pound player. And Iwobi, no one. I don't think if you said to any team in the Prem, you could have Iwobi
40 million.
Sorry, 40. Was it 40? Was it 40?
I think it was 40.
Yeah.
37 or something like that. Yeah. Bank job. I think he's got his places that he's quite good and what have you. He's not a bad player, but he's not. I think when Iwobi came through, what Saka is, people thought Iwobi was. Do you know what I mean? He was decent coming through, and people saw it. No, like when he broke. Yeah, no, I agree.
He was really, he was really good. But yeah, so I think if you gave Rafa just even half of that money, he'd make miracles.
But I think this is what happens though, doesn't it? Like it happens at a lot of clubs where one manager gets all the money, he gets the pot, ruins it. Not saying that Ancelotti ruined it, or who was it before Ancelotti? Was it
Koeman? I think Koeman. No, Marco Silva.
Marco Silva and Koeman ruined the pot, so they got the money. Ancelotti got a little bit, and then they give Rafa nothing. And I think this happens a lot in football where the board just decides to stop spending because their fingers got burnt a bit with a few signings. Or I can't remember if Theo was saying before that they was in some money issues.
They've got some, yeah.
But yeah, they just need to back him. And like I said, I think centre back they could do with. I don't rate Yerry Mina. I don't rate Michael Keane. They could probably do with something there. Coleman's coming towards the end. You know, they could do something there as well, and probably a number 10. You know,
do you know what they need to do? They need to go up to Old Trafford and say, look, here's 30 mil. Just give us Maguire. We know it was a mistake. It's okay, but we'll take him off your hands. 30 mil. And Man United to say, do you know what? 25 and Phil Jones. And
I can't do it today. But
I'm joking. No, I know what you mean. There's a lot of issues of quite a few different positions. They need to sort the spine out first with more centre back wise, I mean, because they've got Allen, who's really good. They've got Decore who can play the 10, and they've got Calvert Lewin. They need a backup for him, obviously, or another player to push him. But they need a solid centre back pairing, and then they can start to build around that.
And I think they're a club, a bit like what I said about United, where we just listed off Koeman, Marco Silva, Ancelotti, and now Rafa. Complete different styles of play. They've all bought players, and they've also got a mismatch of players too.
It's fragmented,
It's fragmented everywhere, and they need to stick with one manager for a bit so he can sort out a squad.
Yeah, that's it.
That he wants, and trust him, because look, all managers make mistakes on signing sometimes, and I know Rafa's done that too. Voronin at Liverpool. Some of the other guys that he signed.
That is a bad one to remember.
Because it was so bad, it's easy to remember. So easy to remember, but no, they all do it, but at the same time, if you've hired this guy, you've got to actually give him something to work with, man.
It's true. Listen, everyone's got their Cleversons and their belly-ons, yeah.
Trust me, Jamba. You get me? So,
well, no, it'd be good to see how that unfolds. Yeah,
he's a top guy.
Unfolds. Yeah,
and look, and that's the other thing you got to look at with the Prem, man. There's so many top managers now. I mean, and if you really look at it, Ranieri's won the league and he's at Watford now, and you got like Bielsa's at Leeds and Rafa's at Everton, Conte's at Spurs, Antonio Conte. So
and these are mid-table clubs, like mid
that's what I mean.
To upper. But
David Moyes, like it's littered with very good managers. So it's not even an easy league to manipulate. So if you're not going to back your manager in a league like this, then it's just a recipe.
You're in the wrong spot. Yeah. Well, we'll probably leave it there, but obviously for everyone listening, thank you for tuning in today. You can catch us on the usual handles, so Twitter and Instagram at the PTTW podcast. Come subscribe on YouTube, watch the videos. Let us know your thoughts and your views. Come and join us. But again, thank you for listening, and we'll catch you next week.
Peace out.